Here's a quick tip on burnout. I think the most important thing is it's not necessarily burnout. It's just they don't actually want to do it because they signed up because they were in love with the idea of it. And then they have buyer's remorse because you realize you can't be in love with the idea of being a college wrestler or college NCAA champion or having a six-pack or being able to deadlift 300 pounds or make a bunch of money or get straight A's or become a freestyle national champion, whatever it is. You can, if you're in love with the idea of it, well, join the club, right? Are you in love with the idea of giving up part of your life? Are you in love with the idea of, doing hill sprints? Maybe not doing the select 3-4 sport athlete, but maybe just doing basic YMCA baseball and staying on the wrestling mat once or twice a week year round. Are you in love with the idea of lifting weights 3 days a week? Are you in love with those kind of ideas? Because everybody's in love with the idea. You say, who wants to wrestle in college one day? You ask 100 kids, 100 hands go up. Who is willing to give up big chunks of their life and a lot of their time and deal with the struggle and the hardship and disappointment and the highs and lows and the pressure and stress and the struggle and the thrill of victory and the agony of defeat and all the crap that goes on with becoming a college wrestler? Who wants to do that? Hands go down. So I feel like the best thing to do is when we're kind of evaluating these things, we have to ask ourselves, am I in love with the idea of this, or do I actually want to do it? And I do this myself. My kids are like, how come you don't join jiu-jitsu, Dad? It'd be awesome. I'm like, well, I've coached 4 or 5 hours straight, 5 to 9, Monday through Thursday. Thursday was 4 to 9 straight, 5 hours straight, because we had 2 groups of kids for 2.5 hours. I did that for 17 and a half years, many weekends. I used to teach every practice at every wrestling camp. 4 years ago, I think I was 17,300 hours running a practice with a stopwatch in my hand, running practice. That's not being at a tournament. That is me running a practice. So I like the fact that, 55, I have a team now, we have a staff, we have 20-something academy locations across 3 different states. I coach 1 night a week. I coach, 33% of the practices at summer camp, which is still a lot. But, I have a little bit more time on my hands. So, I tell them, I go, I'm in love with the idea of doing jiu-jitsu and even competing one day. But I really like not being gone 4 evenings a week. And then on Saturday, I kind of like, my property, and working around, working on the house and hanging out with my grandkids. So, this is a realization that I live with too. And that's okay. But I feel like we must teach our kids how the mind works, okay? It's like we all get emotionally excited about stuff, but we must let them know, okay, this honeymoon, this newness and excitement is going to wear off. You join Perler Wrestling, it's all exciting, you're a member of famous academy, and you're going to get really, really good, really, really fast, and it's going to be a grind. And once you get really, really good, it's going to slow down a little bit. Just like when you adults, you first start losing weight, lose 12 pounds in a week. Oh, guess. It's going to take you, if you want to go from 29% body fat down to 15, you can do that in about 4 or 5 months. You want to go from 15% body fat down to 11, it might take 3 years. You have to decide if you want to do that. It's a plateau effect. So when the going gets tough, are we going to quit and say, I got burned out? Or are we just going to quit and say, I just didn't want to do it. I didn't have what it took. I was in love with the idea of doing this, but man, I just want to hang out with my buddies. And that's okay too. But teach your kids how the mind works. And don't listen to them when they say they got burned out. It's like, if they don't make it through a difficult long camp, they're not going to say, I quit, I give up, I miss my girlfriend, I want to hang out with my buddies, I want to party with my friends. Dad signed me up for this 14-day camp, in February after I got beat at state. And now the camp is in July and I don't want to do it. And I just want to go to grandma's house. And, I'm sorry I wasted your money. I quit. I give up. I don't have what it takes. I quit. I give up. My legs are tired. I'm going home. I'm homesick. I'm done. They're not going to say that. They're going to say, the food sucks. The college coach was mean. The moves were no good. My roommates are mean. They say bad words. I mean, all these things, some of these things can be true. I don't know. But kids are going to make an excuse for why they quit. And burnout is one of those excuses too. And that's okay if they actually are burned out. But I think we should evaluate and say, before we sign up, I think we should say, hey, when you sign up, I don't want any of this bullshit. Monday, Thursday, you're practicing. Okay? If I'm going to spend the time sitting in the bleachers for 14 hours every Saturday for many more years, I need to see you winning, not everything, but I need to see some progress here. I'm investing time in this too. And once your kids are like, okay, so don't sell them on the vision that it's going to be difficult and say, are you sure you want to do this? Maybe we should quit. You should say, okay, you're excited. You're in the emotional phase and we're all excited. And that's okay. That's normal. That's how life works, sweetie pie. Now understand, after a month or so, you just enter the struggle phase. And it's just grinding it out. And it might take 2 or 3 years. You just look at these famous, David Taylor just came out of retirement. He's ranked number 1 on planet Earth and didn't make the team. Regrouped, he's going again. Because at the end of the day, some of these guys are warriors. And we have to let our kids know, before we sit there and talk to them about burnout and listen to them crying on our shoulders, we need to say, let them know beforehand what's going to happen when the honeymoon phase wears off and the old sugar high of the newness of this wears off. And it's time just to be a man and be a tough, hard young lady and grind this out and push and shove and punch and fight and struggle and kick ass and get beat and get up and go again for 3 or 4 years. Because that's what sports is. That's what building a business is. That's what building a career is. That's what being a mom is. That's what being a husband and dad is. I mean, life's hard. So I feel like when we prepare our kids for what's going to happen after that happy period ends, they talk about that in marriage too, right? Once the honeymoon phase wears off, it's work sometimes. So I feel like just letting your kids say they're burned out. Okay, we quit. No, they're not quitting because they're burned out. They just don't have the words to communicate that they're struggling with the fact that the newness has worn off, and now they're in the struggle phase, and it's difficult. And what they're really doing is calling for your help to educate them that, hey, honey, this is how life works. It's always going to be that way. Whether it's a new job, new career, new house, have a baby, get married, heck, even a new car, right? My wife's got one. Got to pay for the damn thing now, right? Which is okay. But no matter what you do, there's going to be a little bit of buyer's remorse sometimes when it's time to wake up and get your running shoes, get your weightlifting belt, get your wrestling shoes, and go do what needs to be done. Educate people on how their mind works and what actually is taking place out there. And I think you're going to help your kids to develop a good life skill. And don't just let them say, oh, I'm burned out, and say, okay, honey, we're going to quit. Dude, you've said that every year for the past 5 years. And you cry under the bleachers every year at state, promising next year's going to be better. And here we go again. Nope. We're not doing this anymore. This family does not play those kind of funny, silly games. We are not doing this. There's my advice. Good luck.